Hi everyone, welcome to Jerematics Tutoring. In this video, I'll be showing you how to draw triangles on the Cartesian plane. So to draw a triangle, you need three things. You need a base, you need a height, and you need a hypotenuse. Well, when you draw triangles on the Cartesian plane, those are the exact three things you will be drawing. The x coordinate will be your width, your base, and your y coordinate will be your height. So for example, first, you plot a point at the origin. Basically, in standard position, your triangle will always basically start at the origin. So this is like where the x-axis, this is where the base meets the hypotenuse, right? This is where it forms one of the angles. And it's always at the origin, this point. This point always stays at the origin. And then you plot a point xy. So it would be a point looking like this, for example. So this would be 0.11. See, you plot a point right here, 0.11, and this would be your hypotenuse, right? Well, your x is your width, right? So your x would be like this, 1. And then your height is 1, because it's 1, 1. 1 to the right and 1 up. Because remember how the Cartesian plane works. If your x-coordinate is positive, you move to the right. If your y-coordinate is positive, you move up. If your x-coordinate is negative, you move to the left. And then after that, if your y-coordinate is negative, then you move down. So we got a point over here, 1, 1. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to draw a triangle with a coordinate point 1, 1, which is the highest point of the triangle. This is your highest point. Basically, the point you will be plotting will either be the highest point or the lowest point if it's in one of these quadrants. And basically, this is a right triangle. You're drawing right triangles on the Cartesian plane. And then now we connect these 2 points together, and we have a triangle. So 1, 1, base is 1, height is 1, because x is 1, y is 1. Well, what do we do with this? How do we calculate hypotenuse? Do you remember the Pythagorean Theorem? C squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Well, when we're talking about trigonometry here and connecting the ideas to the Cartesian plane, we use the same formula but with just different letters. It's r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. What this means is r squared is our diagonal, our hypotenuse, and then x squared is our base, which is like our a, and then our y squared is like our b squared. That's really what it is. So r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. And since we have our point right here, we plug these coordinates into our formula. So now we calculate our hypotenuse as r squared is equal to 1 squared plus 1 squared. R squared is equal to 1 plus 1. And as you know, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So r squared is equal to 2. And then now if we want to get our r value, remember, to eliminate a squared, you take the square root of both sides. So now we square root both sides of the equation, and we get r is equal to square root 2 as an answer. So square root 2 is our hypotenuse. Our hypotenuse is the square root of 2. And I use this coordinate on purpose for this example because this is one of the easiest triangles you can deal with, because it's actually one of the special triangles with trigonometric ratios that are constant. And when I say constant, I mean like this is actually a very useful triangle that you will actually be using again in grade 12 when calculating exact values of sine, cosine, and tangent ratios. You'll see that there's a special connection with all of the lengths and ratios and everything, but right now we're just going to focus on drawing the triangles, and that's what we're doing right now. Now for the next example, we will be looking at a triangle where its highest point lies at -2, 2. So this is an x-coordinate of -2 and a y-coordinate of +2. Which quadrant does this lie in? Well, it lies in quadrant 2, because here is where the x-axis is negative and the y-axis is positive. And if you remember how the Cartesian plane works, if you got a negative x-coordinate, you move to the left, and the number is -2. So we move 2 units to the left, see, to the -2 right here, and then it's 2 units up since our y-coordinate is positive. So our point lies right over here, approximately right over here. And then now we connect this point right here of the origin to this point up here, which is our terminal arm, which is really our terminal arm. The way I like to look at it, well, you've got your origin, and then you plot this point This is your hypotenuse. It's your diagonal. So you connect the two lines together, and this is like your terminal arm. And then after that, now you connect this point up here to the x-axis. And then now the angle is a right triangle, so it should be more straight than that. Just remember, this is an angle of 90 degrees, okay? It may not look like it, but really it is. I just didn't make the line super straight, so. Triangle. So here's your triangle, your right triangle. And point -2. So -2. 2. And now we need to find our coordinate. Now here's the thing that might seem a bit confusing to you. Well, we've got a negative coordinate right here. And really, measurement can never be negative. It's always positive. But the thing that happens is a formula like this is when you plug in your numbers, your negative turns into a positive because you're squaring a negative number. So no matter what, your negative will always turn into a positive and your calculation will work out. One word of warning is if ever you do a calculation for your hypotenuse and you get a negative number, then you made a big mistake because your r is always positive no matter what. So keep that in mind. When you're calculating your hypotenuse, always positive no matter what. It should never ever be negative. Whether or not you've got a negative here, a negative there, or both negatives, it'll always turn out positive. So if you do a calculation, you get a negative, better go over your work once again because you've definitely made a big mistake. Calculating our hypotenuse now. We use the formula r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. R squared is equal to 2 squared, -2 squared, -2 squared plus 2 squared. And what's -2 times -2 is +4. So r squared is equal to 4 plus 4. So r squared is equal to 8. What's r equal to? R is equal to the square root of 8. And of course we can break this down further into 2 square root 2. If you would like more information on how to convert a radical to like a mixed radical, then you can watch my video on simplifying radicals. So this gives you 2 square root 2. So this means that our hypotenuse is 2 root 2, or root 8. So root 8. I'll try root 8, or 2 root 2. And that's how you calculate the hypotenuse of a triangle on the Cartesian plane. So I hope this video helped you, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.